On June 25th, 2024, Dr. Disrespect shocked the entire world with a tweet that now has over 120 million views, basically admitting that he had inappropriately messaged a minor back in 2017. Almost every content creator with any sort of relevancy has reacted to this, and this topic has practically taken over the internet, with news outlets as big as the Los Angeles Times, Bloomberg, Business Insider, The Rolling Stone participating with their own articles on the situation. But why? There's been controversy similar to this unfortunately before. What makes this one so special? Well, you might have heard of who Dr. Disrespect is, you might be familiar with the fact that he is a big streamer, but not many people know how big of a deal he was. This is someone who was in the same talent agency as Robert Downey Jr. and Beyonce. Someone who signed a contract with the same entertainment company behind the Walking Dead series, hoping to make a TV show with them. He had partnered with a football team, appeared on the WWE. The dude wasn't simply at the level of other content creators, he was going into Hollywood level fame. And while many people are saying that his downfall happened over the course of 3 days, I think that it was systemic, done so over the course of 7 years. And this video's aim is to give you every single piece of relevant information you need to truly understand the scale of this controversy. Because trust me, if it seems bad now, then once you understand the full scope of this, it'll seem 1,000 times worse. Here's how I'm gonna split the video. First, we're gonna talk about the context. Who is Dr. Disrespect? Where did he come from? What makes him special? What makes him unique? Then we'll head into what I think triggered his downfall, the year 2017, which we'll call Phase 1. Then we'll go over Phase 2. This was when he was banned from Twitch and triggered a 4-year mystery of theory crafting, trying to understand why he was banned. And then finally, we'll head into Phase 3, which is what's going on right now in June 2024, and how it relates completely to both Phase 1 and 2. Then we'll wrap everything up in a conclusion. So, without further ado, let's dive right into this mess. And speaking of messes, I created a highlights channel on YouTube for my Twitch stream because there's a lot of goofy, crazy moments that happen all the time, so we'll be compiling the best moments there. Link in the description and the pinned comment. Anyway, back to the video. When you see a wildfire of this magnitude, understanding where it came from makes it 1,000 times worse. This is why to fully understand this, as I always do on this channel, we have to go back to the absolute beginning. In this case, when Dr. Disrespect first came to be, and the person behind it all, Guy Beam. Dr. Disrespect's first ever video is still available on YouTube today with over 1.2 million views. It was uploaded on January 12th, 2010, so 14 years ago. This was back when Call of Duty commentary channels were the backbone of YouTube, right? Guy Beam saw the potential here and decided to give his own twist on this genre by creating a persona by the name of Dr. Disrespect, where he trash talks players and makes it funny to watch. This was actually one of his first innovations in this space. Every other commentary YouTuber was telling stories or just talking about their gameplay. But he was out here trash talking everyone, being an overall douchebag. And you know what? It worked. This would of course only be the beginning, because then he would start reaching out to bigger content creators than him while staying in character. So he wouldn't be reaching out as Guy Beam, he'd be reaching out as Dr. Disrespect, which these content creators found really funny. So of course, they collabed. This led to one of the biggest titans on YouTube at the time to take notice of him, and that's none other than Machinima. Look, if you were on YouTube at the time, 13 years ago, you know exactly who these names are. Sark, Hutch, Cnanners, they were the fundamental pillars of the YouTube Let's Play community. You see them in this video on their way to the reveal night of Call of Duty Black Ops. They're just being silly and stupid as always, and then all of a sudden, you see the one and only Dr. Disrespect. He was already hanging out with some of the most creative people on YouTube back then. And regardless of the controversies that happened with Machinima in the years to come, back then, it was a space of the highest type of creativity on YouTube. And he was a part of it. Guy would continue to develop Dr. Disrespect and would establish a backstory for him. The fact that he was a former member of Optic and was a two-time champion in 1993 and 1994 in the Blockbuster Gaming Championship of NBA Jam within the online gaming community. He'd always refer to himself as the two-time, as the back-to-back champion. And his aesthetic was deeply rooted in the whole cyberpunk idea of the future that was exhibited in many movies in Hollywood back in the 90s. Now look, things were going great for Dr. Disrespect. He was gaining a lot of followers, a lot of renown within the content creator community, but there was one thing Guy Beam couldn't live his life without doing at least once, and that's working directly in video games. He would go on to join Sledgehammer Games, a studio owned by Activision, to work on the game Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3. This right here is a blog post on the Sledgehammer website welcoming Guy as the new community manager, with the CEO of the studio at the time, Glenn Schofield, saying that he was a perfect fit for the studio because he's a hardcore Call of Duty gamer, but his background in marketing management and the fact that he's the mind behind his online personality, Dr. Disrespect, made him perfect for the role. Here's what Guy had to say here. While it was entertaining to develop content through the Dr. Disrespect character, it's time for him to retire. To my fans, thank you. I encourage you to follow me here with Sledgehammer Games. So he was fully committed to this. But a year after working there as a community manager, he would get promoted to a level designer, which has always been his dream, to design maps in Call of Duty. According to him, he would go on to work on 8 different multiplayer maps for the game Call of Duty Advanced Warfare. After the game released, and after spending 5 years at Sledgehammer Games, Guy Beam decided that it was finally time to move on and do other things. He even announced it on Twitter, saying, "Well, Call of Duty, it was fun. I'm no longer with Sledgehammer Games. I'm super excited to explore a new level of creativity in a whole new chapter." Unknown to many at the time, this tweet signified the start of a revolutionary era in online video game streaming. This is when the most important chapter in Dr. Disrespect's history would start to take place. In 2016, Dr. Disrespect made his official comeback playing the game H1Z1. This game took over the world at the time, and it started the whole Battle Royale craze, which eventually created games like PUBG and Fortnite. By that time, he had fully embraced his persona, investing more into his costume and his setup. Another form of innovation he had done back then were his very high-quality transitions in his streams, incorporating green screens and making the audience feel like they were watching more than just a stream on Twitch, almost like he was elevating the genre. He became so big that other streamers started referencing him sometimes, even going as far as cosplaying him like Tyler1 did here. His influence was felt everywhere on the platform. But the period in which Dr. Disrespect found the most explosive growth was when PUBG came out. PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds is another Battle Royale game that eclipsed the hell out of its predecessor, H1Z1. Not just in terms of game sales though, but views on Twitch too, and Dr. Disrespect was one of the top creators, getting tens of thousands of views per stream playing it. At this point, one would look at him and think, dude, the sky is the limit. He kept making his streams higher quality, with bigger transitions, more inside jokes, like how his subscribers are part of the Champions Club, that they're all sitting in an arena watching him play every day. Like how his mustache was called the poisonous Ethiopian caterpillar. He just kept adding on to his lore and upping the production value of his streams. The guy was just looking unstoppable. I remember seeing this and thinking what many others were thinking. This guy is becoming the face of streaming. He's gonna have a very long-lasting legacy. And this was even more emphasized when he joined CAA, the Creative Artists Agency. And this wasn't something you saw every day. This agency represents people like Robert Downey Jr. and Beyonce. And all of a sudden you had this Twitch streamer with his silly mustache and wig joining something that you would have never thought possible for someone on a website like Twitch. Very shortly after, you saw him appearing on WWE, like here. No one was expecting this. He just came on and said he's looking for someone and then left. Slowly but surely, people were starting to understand the scale in which he operated in. He wasn't just going to be a big streamer, he was aiming to become a household name you recognize instantly. This was evident in how many fields of entertainment he wanted to have a huge impact on. The guy wasn't just a gamer, he was a singer too, and created some very high quality songs, one of them being Gillette, which became iconic in Twitch streaming culture. And at some point, guess what? he became sponsored by Gillette for a stream. If that wasn't enough, then he also signed a deal with Skybound Entertainment, the same company who manages the Walking Dead property. And it was to eventually create a show that talks about his backstory as Dr. Disrespect, as his persona. No one had done that before. And at some point, he even collaborated with an American football team, the San Francisco 49ers, going to their pitch and showing off his skills. This man was very quickly becoming an icon, not just in gaming, but in the entertainment industry as a whole, with a promise to leave a long-lasting legacy behind him that would rival Hollywood actors of the highest stature. And while he did seem like he was unstoppable, with a trajectory that was not going to slow down anytime soon, over time, cracks started to show anyway. And he had none other than himself to blame. Because you see, it all started at the end of 2017. The first time Dr. Disrespect was not seen as invincible anymore. This was the beginning of the end. Congrats on making it through the context. By this point, you should have a solid understanding as to why Dr. Disrespect is such a big deal. We're about to head into what started his downfall, the year 2017. But I'm not here to just give you information. My goal is to make you immerse yourself in that time period to really understand what it felt like to see everything unfolding from the viewpoint of a normal person. I was very chronically online on Twitch at the time, so it won't be that hard of a task. I just hope you're ready for this. Let's go. Dr. Disrespect's downfall began in one of the most unpredictable and craziest ways possible. There's this streamer by the name of Burger Planet. And look, he has a huge history that spans over 10 years, but to sum him up in one word, he's a lolcow. Someone eccentric and foolish with an internet presence that you pretty much just watch to feel better about your life because of how much of a mess they are. If you want to know more about him, I would recommend watching this video called Burger Planet Streaming's Forgotten Lolcow. But his most famous clip is this: Burger Andy gets left behind, with 5 million views. Watch.
Dude, it's sketchy out here. I don't have to walk back through there.
I mean, why'd you come here?
I came here to see you guys. You said I could come with you.
So this right here became iconic. Burger Planet was always the butt of the joke, and even better, he deserved it due to how much of an asshole he is. But there was one thing that many people couldn't deny. Even though he was a lolcow, he also had this talent of being in the right place at the right time. Here's an example of the few instances it's happened. Back in December 14th, 2021, there was a truck that was speeding like crazy on the freeway and ended up unfortunately killing 4 people. The reason was because the brakes weren't working. Burger Planet happened to be streaming on that same freeway and was the only source of footage for the truck. He was featured on the news. Watch.
To say that it was a speeding semi that caused that crash. Flew past them on the shoulder of the interstate.
Yes, I know. You're welcome, guys. We just cured anxiety.
Oh my God!
The Burger Planet blogger was recording when that semi blew by him.
So that happened, right? And that was only one of the few instances that I mentioned. The first instance of this, what started this meme of him being in the right place at the right time, was when he had exposed Dr. Disrespect and inadvertently, without even knowing, started his downfall. So we're now in 2017 and it's TwitchCon, a convention held annually for both streamers and their viewers. This is when Burger Planet would be doing an IRL stream. During it, he can be seen trying to socialize and make other streamer friends, failing miserably. He was super drunk and just making a fool of himself with everyone kind of shooing him away. It really wasn't more than just a try not to cringe compilation at this point. However, at around an hour and 45 minutes in his Twitch VOD, he goes inside a bar and is trying to talk up this streamer who keeps shooing him away. Like, dude, back off, you're being weird. And in the background, we see none other than Guy Beam himself, aka Dr. Disrespect. Watch.
Oh, the one that you wanted to go out with while she had her pimp out inside. Dude, I did that for views. It was like, now you...
As you can see here, Guy wasn't alone. He has his arm extended, he's leading someone else to him. Burger Planet had understood that it was Dr. Disrespect and kept the camera on him. Here you can see him talking to a woman. And at this point, Dr. Disrespect was married. He had a wife. He even had a child. People knew what they looked like. She did not look like his wife. Now, throughout this thing, Guy was pretty nice. He was asking Burger Planet, oh, how many viewers you have? He tells him 600 viewers. Guy says, wow, that's a lot of viewers. He says, hey, let me say hi to your chat. Burger Planet kept ignoring him and being rude. It was so cringy to watch. Whatever. At some point he goes out, tries to talk to other people. Same treatment, they're not interested. So far, you might think this is an innocent clip, and honestly, it was. Burger Planet is by no means a big streamer. He had a few hundred people watching. Not enough to have any internet detectives. And if his interaction with Guy had stopped there, people wouldn't have known about the stream to begin with. What changed everything though was the fact that Guy started acting like Dr. Disrespect at some point. He couldn't bear being around Burger Planet anymore because he was insufferable. So, this happened.
Hey, we're not gonna collab. Don't ever film me again. Why? Just do me a favor, okay? Don't ever film me again. Don't ever get me on there. Okay. Do you hear me? What? Don't ever. Hey. What? All right, well, get away from me, man. Don't be on my thing. Get out of my face. Get it out of my face. All right, I'm coming over. Well, don't go back into it if you don't want to be in it.
At this point, the clip started to spread. More eyes were on this VOD. As you can see, this entire stream has 600,000 views. People quickly were able to put one and one together. The Reddit detectives were all over this. All of a sudden, it was clear. Because of Burger Planet's stream, people knew that Dr. Disrespect was cheating on his wife at TwitchCon. And when that became apparent, to farm more views, Burger Planet changed the title of this VOD to Dr. Disrespect Caught Flirting at TwitchCon. Typical. This was at the end of October in 2017. Barely 2 months later, on December 2017, Dr. Disrespect would go live on his stream, but for the first time in history, he wouldn't go live as Dr. Disrespect. Instead, he would go live as Guy Beam, a very upset, on the verge of tears version of Guy Beam. And it would become one of the most iconic streams on Twitch, lasting barely 2 minutes. Watch.
Hey guys, kind of have a little bit of an announcement. And I just want to be completely transparent with you guys. As you guys know, I have a beautiful family and a wife and kid. And I want to be transparent that I've been unfaithful, and I'm probably going to be taking some time away, time off, to focus on stupid fucking mistakes, man. I'm gonna take time off to focus on my family, and so I just wanted to let you guys know that. And I apologize to you guys and Slick Daddy. You guys are. I apologize to you guys, my sponsors and Twitch. And this is not who I am. It's not what I represent. And that's it.
If you or someone you know was watching Twitch in any capacity back in 2017, then they must have, to a certain extent, either heard or known about this. This was a gaming icon for the first time, showing a side no one has seen before, vulnerable, on the verge of tears. What didn't help is that one of Dr. Disrespect's mods, called Omega, went live on his Twitch channel drunk and claimed that he actually had cheated with not just one woman, but 4 different women at the same time. But while things were looking bad, guys, there was no one else like Dr. Disrespect. He had shown a different side of himself to everyone, he had been vulnerable in public, and the community support was still there. On February 2018, he officially made his comeback. And the Twitch website was struggling to keep up with demand. It went down multiple times because he had over 350,000 concurrent viewers. And as this article on Forbes says in the title, it showed that people do love a comeback story. He had been vulnerable in front of his audience for the first time, he had apologized to his wife, he had salvaged his marriage, and now he was back to continue his legacy. But unfortunately for Guy, things were not necessarily just sunshine and rainbows. His open vulnerability might have made some people in his community more loyal to him, but it made outsiders and potentially haters be aware of a weakness. And Dr. Disrespect was not ready for that. Forsen is a streamer that started out on Twitch playing the game Hearthstone. By 2024, he has been streaming for over 10 years, and his chat has evolved in a very interesting way. You really can't find a community like his. It's a very particular chat culture in which if Forsen were to play a boring game, instead of leaving, they just keep chatting and make entertainment themselves. If you were to watch his stream for the first time, you'd literally have zero clue what's happening. But what's important to note here is this. Forsen has this very iconic emote called Forsen E. And if you're chronically online on Twitch, you'd have a hard time not recognizing it. At some point, Forsen held a raffle to introduce a new emote in his community, and the winner was someone who pretty much added Dr. Disrespect's glasses and mustache to the Forsen E emote. It was called Forsen CD. This emote was a way to kind of poke fun at Doc for what had happened with his cheating allegations. You see, this was very significant for many people because Doc was untouchable up until this point. He's 6'8", aka 2 meters tall, has a great voice, is entertaining, has muscles, has a family, makes a lot of money. How the hell would you even begin to make fun of someone like that? Well, the answer was in his infidelity. The guy had done it to himself. He had booted up his stream almost on the verge of crying. So many people saw this as an opportunity. And it worked! The emote was getting to him, it was pissing him off. And people started to realize something, that this guy's funny when he's pissed. So you'd see people start to stream snipe him in the games he played, with names such as Dr. Disrespect cheated on his wife, things like that, and it got to him. What's crazy is that this emote spread like wildfire to the point where some of the biggest streamers on Twitch had their own version of CD. You had Asmongold, you had Soda Poppin', at some point even Shroud, who used to duo with Doc in PUBG, had it too, which didn't make him very happy, by the way. He then made this tweet right here, calling these people out directly, saying these desperate channels with their desperate transparency emotes. Bunch of little baby preciouses seeking attention and 6th grade giggles just like their weak communities. I love being the best, period. Someone replies with a Forsen CD emote. Doctor says, boyish giggles, which, by the way, also became a meme. He would then go ahead and start to reply to people with their profile picture, calling them out, calling this person a chubby gut with his profile picture attached, attaching this guy's profile picture saying loneliness. This was the whole concept of Dr. Disrespect, trash talking people online. He even trash talked other streamers and they would trash talk back. But now that he's being trash talked, now that he's being poked fun at, it was clear that it was getting to him. Using people's profile pictures to make fun of them was a low blow. It just didn't look good. It made him look petty. That's not who Dr. Disrespect is, or at least is supposed to be. After a while, Twitch had seen this as a form of harassment, so they actually removed every single CD emote from the platform, which only made things worse because now people knew, wow, he really gets triggered over this, doesn't he? So Forsen's chat came up with a creative way of keeping the meme going. They used Forsen E, pointed at a disc to make it signify CD, and just kept the meme going. You weren't gonna silence them that easily. But of course, Doc's reputation being shattered from this cheating wasn't just tied to some silly emotes. It would go further beyond that. At some point, Lily Pichu, who is one of the biggest female content creators on Twitch and YouTube and who is a part of offline TV, was involved in a huge drama in which her ex-boyfriend Albert cheated on her. So many big content creators were involved, with Pokimane even doing a subtweet about him, particularly saying it's insane how the best of people can turn out to be massive snakes back in 2019. This is a Reddit thread right here that sums up all the drama with over 10,000 upvotes. And how did the Twitch community react to this in particular? Well, Heroic Butt Plug had this to say: "Welcome to the Champions Club." This was yet another crack in Dr. Disrespect's reputation and image. Many memes came out of Albert cheating on Lily Pichu, and so many of them involved Dr. Disrespect. Here you can see Albert on the violin, and here's the woman he cheated with. There's a song playing, which is Dr. Disrespect's Gillette song, which we saw earlier, but with a violin in the background. Additionally, Albert had this thing where he did magic tricks with cards. So to reference this event of Albert cheating on Lily Pichu and joining the Champions Club, people made this copy pasta that you can see in the title. Pick a card, any card, the Two of Wives, excellent choice, with the Force and CD emote, of course. But what really didn't help is that someone with the name of Albert subscribed to Dr. Disrespect on Twitch, and this is what he had to say. The meme blew up a gazillion times because of this. Watch.
Headquarters.
Caboose, thank you for the 3. Welcome Albert to the Champions Club. Albert, get in, settle in, fit in, drip in, and win.
He was playing right into the memes without even knowing, and it was clear that it was getting to him. But that's not to say that he wasn't growing. He was, averaging 20,000 viewers and sometimes getting up to 80,000 in one stream. He was still unstoppable with a very solid community behind him. It was just that for the first time, he had a dark stain on his reputation, and he wasn't handling it very well. His PR skills were showing. Even though he was a community manager, he didn't really know how to handle controversy or drama. In 2019, he would make another major mistake in which he filmed the bathrooms of E3. Other than the fact that this is morally wrong, it's also illegal in the state of California in which this took place, to film in a bathroom. Because of this, his Twitch channel got banned temporarily, and his access to E3 was revoked. He couldn't go in anymore. This prompted Guybeam to go back to his personal Twitter account that he hadn't used for years and write up a tweet longer, pretty much apologizing and explaining his mindset at the time as to why this happened, and that of course it was a mistake. Now what he did was wrong, and I think anyone could see that. Who the hell would want to be filmed in a bathroom? And while the memes of this incident were out in full force, this only served to show that his community, his friends, his sponsors had his back. That this wasn't going to be enough to make them turn their backs on him. And this was also the same year in which he got signed to CAA. So look, from an objective point of view, yes, there were cracks showing at the seams of his reputation. But was he still growing? Of course. Was he still an icon? Absolutely. Was he the face of Twitch? To many people, he was. He was in some drama, there were setbacks, but to Dr. Disrespect, he wasn't going to let that get in the way of him achieving greatness. And for a while, people believed this until Twitch had a different idea and decided to flat out end his career in the most dramatic way possible. Dr. Disrespect just couldn't keep it in his pants, and we probably would have never been able to know this if it wasn't for Burger Planet's stream. But at this point, it seemed like he could still recover from this. It wasn't the end of the world for Doc. Until 2020 came along. What happened to him caused an earthquake in the entirety of the Twitch online community, as well as anyone related to it. This wasn't just about Dr. Disrespect anymore. This was huge, and you're about to find out why. Let's do this. So, we are now in 2020, and the pandemic is in full swing. Everyone is locked down in their homes and unable to leave. Due to this, many people's digital presence was amplified. And you can see a little spike here during the lockdowns at their worst, in which Dr. Disrespect was getting almost 100,000 followers per month, periodically reaching a max viewer count per stream of almost 40,000 people. This was huge. Yeah, sure, he would continue to create memes inadvertently, like how he bought a bunch of shungite rocks to stop the 5G rays from hurting him and his family, but it played into his character. Look, Dr. Disrespect is a boomer by all means. He's someone who peaked a long time ago and who still talks about his glory days. That's the whole character, that's the persona. Guy Beam himself described Dr. Disrespect as edgy, highly opinionated, cocky, etc. when he had apologized for the bathroom incident in E3, and this was very much the case. This meant that him being into Shungite and thinking 5G rays are gonna kill you, or hell, even him cheating on his wife, and him being a womanizer played very well into the character. But yes, of course, the fact that he got triggered over it wasn't helping, but should he choose to embrace it one day, it would have only made him stronger. He simply wasn't going to let his past mistakes get in the way of his unlimited potential, as how many people put it, the face of Twitch. As long as this was up to him, he was going to reach unprecedented heights. But unfortunately, it wasn't just up to him anymore, because another entity would now become a part of the equation. An entity that Dr. Disrespect thought was on his side, until it wasn't. Because on June 26, 2020, Twitch banned Dr. Disrespect. With no announcement, with no prior knowledge, it just happened overnight. When people went to Dr. Disrespect's channel, this is what they saw, what you typically see when a channel's banned. This channel is currently unavailable due to violation of Twitch community guidelines or terms of service. Well, the thing is, back then, this wasn't seen as such a big deal just yet. Twitch wasn't really seen as an amazing website. Its staff were always at the butt of many jokes. They're very inconsistent with their rules and their bans, clearly showing favoritism sometimes and showing the opposite on other occasions. This wasn't the first time Doc got banned. Of course, as we saw in 2019, he got banned for invading the bathrooms of E3. But this became a monumental piece of information in the entire streaming and gaming community when it turned out that sources were coming to gaming journalists telling them that it was not a temporary ban, but a permanent ban. Guys, I can't state just how big of a deal this was. If you just as much frequented Twitch, you knew. And if you weren't, well, the best way I can sum this up to you is that this was practically the 9/11 of the streaming world. Everyone was watching in horror, not understanding how the hell such a titan of the industry, such a pillar of Twitch and streaming and gaming was just overnight permanently banned with no notice. This was also at a time where Twitch was having its top talent poached and they needed every single one of them. Two of Twitch's biggest streamers, Shroud and Ninja, were signed to Mixer at the time, Microsoft's streaming platform, in a multi-million-dollar deal. I'm not talking millions, I'm talking tens of millions. And Dr. Disrespect was one of the only titans left on the platform when it came to Twitch at that time. So at this point, all the internet detectives put on their hats and got to work. Why did he get banned? This doesn't make any sense. People started analyzing his last stream on Twitch, in which he takes out his phone and seems to be looking at it before his mood completely changed, making people think that, oh, he knew this was going to be his last stream. He knew they were going to ban him after this. Watch.
It has to happen.
He pulls out his phone right here, looks at it, moment of silence, and then the mood changes. Almost like he knew that he was going to be banned the next day. And then, probably one of the most iconic tweets in the streaming world, and I mean this, was from Rod Breslow, aka Slasher. Up until this point, Slasher was known to be a gaming insider involved in esports and the games industry. On June 27th, he comes out with this tweet saying, "Look, for several hours now, I have been told from credible sources the reason Dr. Disrespect has been banned. However, due to the importance and sensitivity around the subject, I have refrained from going on it. I don't feel comfortable with it currently." As you can see, this tweet blew the hell up, and why wouldn't it? In the context of the streaming world, this is like someone saying, "Hey, I know who killed JFK, but I can't tell you. Bye." Coming from someone specialized in that field. There was another gaming journalist as well by the name of Shannon, and her tweet also became iconic. This was actually done on the day Dr. Disrespect got banned, and she said, "From my own sources, Doc is indeed done, and not just on Twitch. I know why and cannot say, but this is serious." Both Shannon and Slasher's tweets made waves in the community, but then over time became memes. They also got a lot of hate for it, and it really hurt their credibility. Because this was them effectively saying, "Hey, I know why he got banned, but I can't tell you," and running away, which to many isn't really real journalism. Then a couple weeks after Slasher's tweet, he got on Hassan Piker's stream on Twitch to talk a bit more about it. This is when he revealed that his tweet saying that he has sources that told him what happened to Dr. Disrespect actually triggered an internal investigation at Twitch, which of course served only as more fuel to the fire. What is so crazy? What is so insane? That people are potentially getting in trouble for even talking about it at Twitch. This emboldened people further to start creating more in-depth conspiracy theories. A Twitch ban was somehow turned into something that can rival Area 51 conspiracy theorists. And some of those theories were wild. You had game journalists make videos getting a lot of views, coming up with theories like maybe Dr. Disrespect got banned so that Twitch could afford Shroud and Ninja. Because at the time, Mixer shut down. Microsoft failed yet again at creating another service, which meant that instead of having to stream for years, Shroud and Ninja just got their $40 million and were like, well, I'm good now. They then signed a contract with Twitch. So what this journalist was saying was that, oh, you know, they just flat out permanently banned Dr. Disrespect so that they don't have to pay him a contract and they can instead focus on Shroud and Ninja. Based on the like ratio and the views, people actually believed this. There were news articles giving light to these theories. Moist Critical made a video with over 2 million views talking about these theories. Almost every big streamer on Twitch at the time chimed in to give their opinion. And from being chronically online at the time, I can tell you this. These are the biggest theories that were kind of thrown around in the streamer community. The first one is very simple. People actually thought that he got banned because of past actions. You'd see instances online where someone would say, hey, how come we don't know why he got banned yet? And then some people would be confused, saying, wait, I thought he was permanently banned because he cheated on his wife or because of the whole bathroom incident thing. When in reality, no, it had nothing to do with it. The timeline is completely different. There was a second theory that aligned more with Dr. Disrespect's character. He always complained that Twitch wasn't valuing him enough. He saw his coworkers Shroud and Ninja get tens of millions of dollars from Mixer, and he thought that he wasn't getting what he deserved. This was something he would mention more than once. So there was a theory that alleged that he actually was trying to create a streamer union, contacting other big streamers to get them into a union so that they can demand from Twitch better compensation. And since Twitch is owned by Amazon and Amazon is extremely anti-union, they just immediately banned him with zero mercy. And then there was a third theory, which I kind of believed, to be honest. I thought it was the most probable, and it also involved Dr. Disrespect's dissatisfaction with how much Twitch was paying him. So he came to Twitch with a fake Mixer deal so that he can make them sign a contract with him, paying him millions. But when Mixer all of a sudden shut down on June 22, something that, by the way, no one saw coming, not even the biggest Mixer streamers, it just happened overnight, Twitch realized this and decided to permanently ban him 4 days later for trying to scam them. This article right here even mentions a theory in which Dr. Disrespect, Ninja, and Shroud were in talks to launch a new streaming platform run by Spotify and Google. And because Dr. Disrespect contacted other Twitch streamers to join, Twitch banned him immediately. This was a theory posted on 4chan being talked about by GameRant. So as you can see, people were theory crafting left and right. It was widespread like crazy. And Dr. Disrespect was not giving concrete answers. He was being interviewed by CNN, The Washington Post, PC Gamer, and the only thing he was really saying was how he was not going to come back on Twitch. But he was giving no hints as to why he got banned, raising even further questions. Those questions kept piling up until he finally announced that he was going live on August 7th on his YouTube channel. This stream was so long awaited because usually when a streamer gets banned on Twitch, they get an email giving him a reason. It's usually vague, like, I don't know, hate speech, and anything could have happened, or nudity, anything could have happened. You could have watched the video and someone would be wearing an inappropriate outfit, they wouldn't specify, but they were hoping that they would at least get some clarity. Well, it turns out that many, and I mean many people wanted clarity and to see what the hell was happening because his comeback stream had over 500,000 concurrent live viewers. To give you an idea, when Ninja had Drake on his stream, he had over 600,000. This just shows you how monumental this is. This is just a guy coming back after a month-and-a-half break because he was permanently banned with no explanation. This is why Dr. Disrespect is such an icon, and this reminded everyone of that. The problem, though, is that this only made the conspiracy theories multiply because he came back and gave no new information of his ban. This is what he had to say, and this made people very curious, even more than they were before. Watch.
We still have no idea. We have no idea. Yeah, right, dude! Yeah, right! Yeah, I'm not buying that one! Bunch of phonies. We have no idea. And I'm going to tell you this right now. As far as I'm concerned, we didn't do anything to warrant a ban, let alone how they went about banning us. No communication before, no reaching out, nothing. Boom, done. The problem is, too, there's people in the community that are anxious for an answer. And so what that does, it creates a level of urgency and speculation. And I think it's just a fucking cockroach approach.
Even though he said nothing here, he also said a lot. This was Dr. Disrespect telling 500,000 viewers and millions of people who watched this in general that he had no idea. One of the biggest streamers on the planet had no clue why they got permanently banned from Twitch. And of course, this only made Twitch look worse than they already were, because if they were going to ban someone this big with no notice, no communication, that they could do it to anyone. Anyone doing this for a living was on high alert. What if it happens to me too? He also talked about cockroaches at the end of his statement, and here he was referring to people like Slasher, who further incited speculation and theory crafting over this because of this sense of urgency. But while most people seem to be siding with him over this ban, some people like Ninja were simply not convinced that he was in total ignorance, saying that if he got permanently banned, there must be a reason, and a valid one at that. But again, the question was still there. Why was Dr. Disrespect banned? It just didn't make any sense. The theories would only start getting more prevalent. And then of course the memes came in. As I mentioned, Slasher's statement became a meme. Anytime someone would get banned, anytime someone would get in trouble on Twitch, someone would use this as a copy-paste template, saying, look, for several hours now, I have been told from credible sources the reason X has been banned, and so on. Shannon's statement went through the same treatment. She even had to delete it at one point because the trolls were getting too crazy. For years, people would never let this go, and only more theories started spawning, either from viewers or streamers or online personalities. This was never ending. Things would get even spicier a full year later on August 2021 when Doc had this to say. Watch.
Because there's a reason why I don't talk about it. I mean, I can't talk about any of this stuff.
Oh, righty.
I can't talk about it. But a lot of people ask me, do you know the reason? Yeah, I do know the reason why now. I've known for months now the reason why. And I'll just say this right now, champs. There's a reason why we're suing the fuck out of them. Okay? I don't know how else to put it. The amount of damages and you just don't... No.
So of course, this was huge, right? Again, this topic got sparked up a year later, and he also revealed that he only understood why he got banned a few months prior, so he was left in the dark as the person who got banned for months, almost 8 to 10 months. He also vented a little bit, saying that he had lost sponsors because they were wondering why he got banned off Twitch, thinking, dude, come on, there has to be a reason, a valid reason why you got permanently banned. We're gonna drop you because this is weird. He also mentions how he feels like YouTube is just not as good of a platform for live streaming, adding that he doesn't really see YouTube appreciating him as much as he'd like to. For example, he made this tweet saying how it was weird that YouTube wasn't even acknowledging him, following him back, or anything like that, almost like they're distancing themselves from him. Keep this in mind for Phase 3, it'll be really important. But it was official. He finally knew why he got banned, and he was suing them in court. People were hoping that this would shine more of a light on why he got banned. This would give them some sort of answers. But it's important to note that while all of this was happening, Dr. Disrespect as a brand did not stop growing by any means. No, he kept going and pushing his influence further. He went on to create a bourbon brand, Black Steel Bourbon, on a limited run, and it did very well, officially selling out within the same day. He co-founded a game studio by the name of Midnight Society with a seasoned developer who had worked at Infinity Ward beforehand, which, just like Sledgehammer Games, is another studio owned by Activision. Now yes, there was some controversy surrounding this because it was an NFT-focused project, but it still performed very well even by crypto standards. But while things were going well, people still were wondering, dude, why did you get banned off Twitch? How's the lawsuit going? Hell, even Business Insider was making articles about this. This was such a huge phenomenon. People had to wait almost an entire year later to finally get some sort of an update on this. On March 10th, 2022, Dr. Disrespect posted this tweet saying, "Moving on. I have resolved my legal dispute with Twitch. No party admits to any wrongdoing," and then replies to the tweet saying, "In response to all your questions, the doc will not return to Twitch." So again, almost 2 years later after he got banned, we were left with more questions than answers. What does that even mean, no party admits to any wrongdoing? What did you even settle then? What did they pay you money? Like, what does that even mean? People were yet again left in the dark and the sources were not revealing anything anymore. Slasher at that point hadn't tweeted in months. He was off Twitter, off social media. The tweet had damaged his reputation so much that the dude practically disappeared. The question remained the same. Why the hell did one of the biggest streamers on Twitch get permanently banned overnight with no notification, and why is it still a secret? Well, regardless, the memes would continue, and Dr. Disrespect's meteoric rise would not be stopping anytime soon. I mean, his side projects, as you saw, were kind of crazy. Things stayed the same for a while, and it wasn't until June 2024, exactly 4 years after he got banned from Twitch, that we finally knew why. The reason turned out to be very different from the theories you saw online. It wasn't something you could just apologize for or even brush off. This threatened not only the very existence of Dr. Disrespect, but it also directly targeted the integrity of Guy Beam as a father and as a husband and as a person. It was a very big deal, but the way it was revealed to us was something that no one could have ever expected. Conspiracy theories, utter confusion, and secrets ruled over the Twitch community for years. Everyone finally got their closure 4 years later, and they got it in the worst way possible. No one could have expected this, and no one even theorized this. Make no mistake, this was the worst case scenario, and this is when things get real. Let's finish this. On June 22, 2024, 4 years after Dr. Disrespect got permanently banned on Twitch without anyone knowing why, Cody Connors, who used to be the Creator Partnerships Manager at Twitch, which meant that he worked closely with some of the biggest talents on the website, tweeted this out of nowhere. He says he got banned because got caught sexting a minor in the then existing Twitch Whispers product. He was trying to meet up with her at TwitchCon. The powers that be could read in plain text. Case closed, gang. And then he replies, "No one made the wrong decisions. Fuck him and his boys." This tweet blew up beyond proportion with almost 30 million views. This just shows you how much people wanted to know what happened to Dr. Disrespect even 4 years later. The replies were mixed, with some people saying, "Oh, how am I supposed to believe you when you have no evidence posted?" while others quickly jumped on the bandwagon and called him a pedophile. It didn't help that such a big accusation was made in a very casual tweet. And it was unprofessional for someone who used to be the CPM at Twitch to talk about it this way. I mean, Miskith, a big streamer on Twitch, had the Twitch CEO on his podcast and asked him straight up, why was Dr. Disrespect banned? He didn't answer. He made up a story about aliens in a humorous way. This is how we would find out? What Cody was mentioning here in terms of the Twitch Whispers product was a discontinued function on Twitch which allowed you to DM people. Here we can see Dr. Disrespect actually using it. He had made this tweet on July 22, 2016 saying tender, gentle Twitch Whispers, which is, very unfortunate phrasing as to what we're talking about now, showing whispers from a user that was pretty much telling him that he was falling off, that ever since he left Machinima things weren't looking good for him. But going back to Cody, what didn't really make him look too believable or credible, what didn't really make him look too good in the public eye was that back in 2023 he had made this tweet in which he said that if all 3 of his music shows sold out, he'll tell you why Dr. Disrespect got banned. There's some new replies here on this post from 2023 when people found out about this, saying, "Damn, smeared the doc to do some grifting." So it made some people question his statement. Was he just doing it for attention seeking, or was he serious? As you had just seen, this had 30 million views. This had spread like wildfire, to the point where Jake Lucky, an esports journalist with almost 500,000 followers and the same person who had made a video claiming that Dr. Disrespect got banned because Twitch couldn't afford him, made this tweet, quote tweeting Cody Connors, saying a former Twitch employee has come forward and stated the alleged reason for Dr. Disrespect's permanent Twitch ban being for sexting a minor in the previous Twitch Whispers product. This is when Dr. Disrespect would reply to this, for the first time addressing it, saying, Jake, seriously, I get it. It's a hot topic, but this has been settled. No wrongdoing was acknowledged, and they paid out the whole contract. Now, for someone who used to work as a community manager at Sledgehammer Games, a AAA studio, this was worded in a terrible way. This was the equivalent of a corrupt politician being asked for war crimes and them saying, I plead the fifth. The fact that he had said no wrongdoing was acknowledged didn't help his case here. Now, yes, of course, this is what he had tweeted in his initial settlement lawsuit, saying we both didn't acknowledge any wrongdoing. But this time, it wasn't about whether Twitch had treated him badly or not. This wasn't about the civil case he had with Twitch. This was about him sexting a minor. You don't reply with no wrongdoing was acknowledged without expecting backlash. The replies are tearing him apart. No wrongdoing was acknowledged does not mean no wrongdoing occurred. No wrongdoing was acknowledged. This motherfucker did that shit. I'm gonna need a stronger statement than that after the allegations. But this stayed a very heated topic, with people saying, hey guys, listen, innocent until proven guilty. There was no evidence presented, while others were already convinced Dr. Disrespect was Dr. Diddler. The memes had blown the hell up on Twitter. Like, for example, this tweet right here had the tweet from Rod, the iconic tweet in which he said, for several hours now, I have been told that credible sources, blah, 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 saying, I get it now, with the 1,000-yard stare in the background playing eerie music. You had people referencing the Kendrick Lamar and Drake beef with the infamous song cover from Kendrick with this icon on Dr. Disrespect. You can see that again, this time him in the bathroom. These memes were spreading like crazy, guys. Millions of views, tens of thousands of likes. This had taken over the internet. Articles were coming out about this and no evidence was being presented. This led Doc to finally make a statement on his own account on June 22nd saying, listen, I'm obviously tied to legal obligations from the settlement with Twitch, but I just need to say what I can say since this is the fucking internet. I didn't do anything wrong. All this has been probed and settled. Nothing illegal, no wrongdoing was found, and I was paid. Elden Ring Monday. This was definitely a better response from the one saying no wrongdoing was acknowledged. This was him saying I didn't do anything wrong. Everything was settled. I got paid and we moved on. Many people in his replies are supporting him, saying it blows my mind that people think Twitch would pay out and settle a lawsuit if the allegations actually happened as being thrown around today. See you Monday. People wanted to move on from it and just go back to the Doc's regular streams. It seemed like, yes, this was controversy. It was yet another crack, another dent in Dr. Disrespect's reputation, but this wasn't the first time. And in his eyes, it wasn't going to be the last time. Until someone he could have never imagined turning on him decided to do just that. What changed everything is that Robert Bowling, which is the former Infinity Ward employee that co-founded Midnight Society, the game studio, with Dr. Disrespect, and who is the studio head, started talking about this on Twitter, saying, listen, I'm literally not catering to either side. That's what's upsetting you. Pro-Doc people want me to blindly side with him. Anti-Doc people want me to blindly outcast him. I'm doing neither. I'm talking to him personally and collecting all available information to make act on. So at this point, this wasn't such a big deal yet, because people were expecting him to side with him, to see that it wasn't a big deal, to not even be able to find evidence. But what no one was expecting was when he made this tweet. This is a statement from me personally. It does not reflect any of my companies and has not gone through any legal or PR approvals. If you inappropriately message a minor, I cannot work with you, period. I promised to only act on facts, and I did. And with that statement, Robert had pretty much put one of the final nails in the coffin in Dr. Disrespect's reputation. This time, not a dent, not a crack, but a bullet to the chest, as Dr. Disrespect got axed by Midnight Society. He got fired. This was such a big deal for two main reasons. The first one being that Midnight Society's entire marketing was based off of them having been co-founded by Dr. Disrespect. They had no marketing budget otherwise. The only reason people knew about them, and this is no offense to the developers and the studio head, but the only reason people knew about them was because of Dr. Disrespect, and that's a fact. So they would obviously not want to get rid of him unless the circumstances were dire, and this is where the second point comes in. The fact that Robert had spoken to Dr. Disrespect directly, looked into the facts and the evidence, and still concluded to fire him, even though it would be very damaging to his studio, was enough of a statement for people to make up their minds about this. Dr. Disrespect is actually guilty. While he was streaming Elden Ring, he got a message, and many people theorize that this is the message telling him, oh hey, you're actually being fired from Midnight Society, we can't associate with you anymore. And the mood switches immediately. Watch.
You know how we run things here.
This is when he checks his phone. And the ominous music plays at a perfect timing. This is when Doc would open up the map and just start rambling, saying, you know what guys, maybe it's time for me to finally sail off into the sunset. Maybe it's time for me to retire, you know? We all knew I wasn't going to stream forever. Maybe it's time for me to finally put it all down. Maybe because Midnight Society was meant to be his retirement plan. Or maybe he just understood that there was no salvaging this. In any case, it again did not help. Rod, aka Slasher, finally came out with a tweet saying, I didn't lie. Shannon said, well, it took 4 years, but Doc is indeed done and not just on Twitch. All of a sudden, people were starting to understand why they couldn't talk about this, why it was such a big deal. If someone with Slasher's reputation came out with a tweet saying Dr. Disrespect inappropriately messaged a minor, that's why he got banned permanently from Twitch, without providing any proof, just saying this is what my source told me, then the world would have turned into an apocalyptic hell. We'd be living in a different dimension right now. This would have altered the space-time continuum. But of course, it didn't help their reputation that they said, hey, I know, but I'm not gonna tell you. You know, that wasn't really helpful at all. But at this point, some of his most diehard fans and his friends, like Tim the Tatman, Nick Merckx, people who had defended him, were pretty much saying, guys, listen, let's wait for more proof, let's wait for more evidence, it's too early to judge right now. But it only kept getting worse. Bloomberg's journalists, editors, their entire company, their legal department approved them publishing this article. YouTuber Dr. Disrespect was allegedly kicked off Twitch for messaging a minor. This isn't Business Insider, this isn't Forbes, this is Bloomberg. Guys, if Apple, for whatever reason, loses 10% of its stock, Tim Cook, the CEO's first destination will be Bloomberg. We had reached levels of mainstream rarely seen before for such subject matter. This was very significant. On that same day that the article came out on June 25th, Dr. Disrespect wrote the infamous tweet that has over 110 million views by the time of me recording this on June 27th, and can very easily get to 120, 130 later, in which he says this. Hello, I'd like to make a quick statement. Let's cut the fucking bullshit. As you know, there's no filter with me. I've always been upfront and real with you guys on anything that I can be upfront about, and I'm always willing to accept responsibility, which is why I'm here now. First and foremost, I do want to apologize to everyone in my community, as well as those close to me, my team, and everyone at Midnight Society Game Studio. A lot of people have been left in the dark about what happened yesterday with Midnight Society and I, and we made the painful decision collectively to have me step down. Our team is full of incredibly talented and good people that have high career ambitions and families, and I'd never want to jeopardize the culture we have carefully crafted. Everyone has been wanting to know why I was banned from Twitch, but for reasons outside of my control, I was not allowed to say anything for the last several years. Now that 2 former Twitch employees have publicly disclosed the accusations, I can now tell you my side of the story regarding the ban. Yes, there was another employee that talked about it, don't worry, we'll get to that later. He then continues, were there Twitch whisper messages with an individual minor back in 2017? The answer is yes. Were there real intentions behind these messages? The answer is absolutely not. These were casual, mutual conversations that sometimes lean too much in the direction of being inappropriate, but nothing more. Nothing illegal happened. No pictures were shared. No crimes were committed. I never even met the individual. I went through a lengthy arbitration regarding a civil dispute with Twitch, and that case was resolved by a settlement. Let me be clear. It was not a criminal case against me, and no criminal charges have ever been brought against me. Now, from a moral standpoint, I'll absolutely take responsibility. I should have never entertained these conversations to begin with. That's on me. That's on me as an adult, a husband, and a father. It should have never happened. I get it. I'm not perfect, and I'll own my shit. This was stupid. Now, with all that said, Don't get it fucking mistaken. I've seen all the remarks and labels being thrown around so loosely. Social media is a destruction zone. I'm no fucking predator or pedophile. Are you kidding me? Anyone that truly knows me fucking knows where I stand on those things, and those types of people, fuck that. That's a different level of disgust that I fucking hate even hearing about. Don't be labeling me as the worst of the worst with your exaggerations. Get the fuck out of here with that shit. But I think I've said what I needed to say regarding the ban itself. That's it. That's why Twitch made the decision in 2020. To my team, community, industry friends that have supported me, I apologize. I wish I could have said all this sooner. You guys have always showed me and my family love and support throughout all these years. We love you guys like you can't imagine. I have the fucking best community and circle. If any of this has made you uncomfortable, I get it. You don't have to support me anymore, but just know you have always been greatly appreciated. But trust me when I say this, to all my haters that live and breathe social media with zero real life experience, I don't give a fuck about you. Finally, if you're uncomfortable with this entire statement and think I'm a piece of shit, that's fine, but I'm not fucking going anywhere. I'm not the same guy that made this mistake all those years ago. I'm taking an extended vacation with my family as mentioned on stream, and I'm coming back with a heavy weight off my shoulders. They want me to disappear? Yeah, fucking right. Now, before you even think anything about the statement, before you make up your opinion about anything, there was a major, and I mean major problem in this statement. As you can see here, it says last edited. Well, let's check the edit history. As you can see, there are 3 different versions. The first version is the exact same version as the first one. But the second version, made right after the first one, didn't have the word minor in it. It says, were there Twitch whisper messages with an individual back in 2017? And then, when he got called out for it, he re-added minor in the final statement. So already, things were looking really bad. Why would he do that? Why would he remove minor then add it back? What is he trying to do? And if you watched my last video, you'd know what I'm talking about. If you make a long statement and there's one minor little inconsistency, no pun intended, it destroys the entire statement. People were focusing on the fact that he actually edited this. Why? What is he trying to hide? All of this seemed like some old guy rambling. What people were really concerned about was just one sentence and one sentence alone. This one. Were there Twitch whisper messages with an individual minor back in 2017? The answer is yes. That's it. And at this point, this was him indirectly signaling to any journalist, content creator, individual on the internet to think, okay, I can call you a pedophile now. And if someone argues about evidence, I just show them this tweet. You admitted to it. It's over. Immediately after the statement, one of Dr. Disrespect's biggest and most loyal sponsors, Turtle Beach, immediately dropped him. Any other sponsor he was with is done. And hell, even the creative artist agency who had signed him seems to be done with him, because even when you search their talents, Dr. Disrespect does not appear anymore. Everyone is dropping him left and right. Hell, the biggest streamers on Twitch and YouTube are coming out with their own statements saying, listen man, yes, I played games with him, he's been good with me, but even I have to say, this is unacceptable. Ninja talked about it. Tim the Tatman, who literally moved to YouTube, took a deal with YouTube just so that he could play games with Dr. Disrespect, came out and said, this is bad. I can't support this. This is too much. And that was a huge blow to Dr. Disrespect's reputation. This was one of his closest friends. This was one of his biggest supporters. Nick Merckx was the one who probably waited the longest to say something, and then said something after the statement. When someone asked him in the chat, are you guys still friends? He said, no, I can't condone anything he's done. It's over. Everyone was all of a sudden distancing themselves from him and his brand. But this wasn't just a conversation about Dr. Disrespect anymore. This is the second Twitch staffer that came out to talk about this, saying, the Dr. Disrespect situation. I don't think most people have an idea of how bad things were behind the scenes at Twitch. I literally worked in the department that had access to the most data and information. I saw private whispers, etc. It was literally my job to investigate daily. I saw things every single day that I wish I never had to see. I always advocated for being a good human, always expressed with heavy emotion on my streams how Twitch let pedophiles run free every day. I signed an NDA and afraid to get in trouble, but I have to say something. It's been bothering me so long. These sick f***s don't deserve to be free. Sorry, it's pretty vague. I'm literally afraid for legal and safety reasons. Wish I could explain more, but wanted to let you guys know half the shit you assume is probably true. At this point, a good chunk of people had turned on Dr. Disrespect, but he still had some very loyal fans who were just not letting go. This right here gave us another witness from within Twitch telling us that yes, well, not only is it bad, but it's worse than you think. But this statement was even bigger than that. Now we're talking about multiple streamers over the years that have done such things. What do you mean you saw this daily? What do you mean there's so many pedophiles running rampant? What? Why is it that anytime someone gets any sort of fame, they just immediately jump on minors? Like, what's the problem? Of course, this employee can't go into specifics. He mentions an NDA, which is a non-disclosure agreement. Every Twitch employee signs it at some point when they have sensitive information. And if they go in depth and reveal specifics, then Twitch can technically sue them for a lot of money. But of course, you must be wondering, if that's the case, how come Cody was able to talk about it? Well, he had quit Twitch in 2020 and it's been 4 years. Many people theorize that the NDA was meant to last 4 years. And as soon as it expired, he made this tweet. This wasn't over though, because on that same day, that other Twitch employee came out. Lena Love, who is a trans sex worker, replied to a tweet from Duxerto with them saying that Dr. Disrespect had messaged a minor, saying, during that time in 2017 when he was cheating on his wife with not only me, a trans sex worker, but also another woman, and texting a minor, he was also exploiting me by making me give him cam shows with the promise of partnership. Twitch partnership, right? After the cam shows, he went ahead and blocked me. So it is true, they did meet in 2017. I mean, dude, Dr. Disrespect's year 2017 was insane. I don't know what the hell he was up to. He was messaging a minor, going out with a trans sex worker. Like, he was just in every spectrum possible of being a degenerate, he was doing it. But look, this right here is some of their DMs. Her talking about what she might wear in her next cam show with Dr. Disrespect. And he's over here saying, nice. Feel like releasing one right now. Yummy. Should I let it go or hold on? After he stopped replying on Twitter, they started talking on Skype instead. Lena said, I will try to vid chat you soon. I'm heading to the gym, gotta get fit, but don't be a stranger. Message me sometime, you gotta get some photos sent your way. And then he says, I mean, I'm gripping now. Boom. So if you're online and you see someone say, I'm gripping now, boom, they're referring to this. This has become a meme as well. The assassination of one of the most iconic characters in entertainment is yet again happening right before our eyes. The image of someone like Dr. Disrespect sitting in his chair with his dick out saying, should I let it go or hold on? I mean, that by itself, you know, regardless of the minor controversy, that by itself is insane. It's also very ironic because he got denied a Starfield sponsor with Bethesda at one point, and their reasoning was that he was transphobic. I mean, I love irony. But still, believe it or not, some people were still defending Dr. Disrespect even after everything that's been exposed so far. Still going on about the fact that there's not enough evidence. So, just for them, a Rolling Stone article came out and it was a bombshell. One of the two writers of this article was actually Slasher. And in it, they interview an anonymous Twitch employee, and man, what they reveal is insane. There are two main points you should take away from this article. The first one is that Dr. Disrespect was told by the minor he was DMing that they were underage. It was very clear. And that he only started to get freaky and inappropriate sexually after the fact, after understanding that they were a minor. This of course was told to us by the Twitch employee. However, the DMs themselves were not leaked. It's really important context though, because his defenders, their main defense is that the minor was 17. I've seen that thrown around everywhere. I'm not sure if that's the case. It wasn't in Dr. Disrespect's statement, but all I can say is this. If you're 35 years old like Dr. Disrespect was in 2017, you're talking to someone, they say they're 17, they explicitly tell you that, and you start to talk sexually to them, that is a concern. I don't care how close they are to 18, bro. Like, that's the thing. It's a matter of principle. The second thing to take away from this article is that Twitch had reported Dr. Disrespect to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. This shows us that Twitch staff was so worried they had decided to do that. All of a sudden, Dr. Disrespect's statement saying that there was no intent involved and that they only spoke about inappropriate topics sometimes seemed to sound more and more like utter bullshit. But it also showed that Twitch was definitely not trying to cover this up. This keeps getting worse day by day, and his defenders keep looking more and more stupid as time goes on. It was very clear that he tried to downplay this in his statement, and that these DMs were not little harmless banter like he was making it out to be. It was serious. The Rolling Stone article also told us about something else involving YouTube. Remember how frustrated Doc was over the fact that YouTube almost was like distancing themselves from him? Well, it turned out that they did that because of these rumors surrounding his ban. They didn't have any concrete evidence, but did hear from a few people that it was regarding something very serious. And while to some people this may come as a bit too late, YouTube did just recently suspend all memberships on Dr. Disrespect's YouTube channel and also demonetized him completely. He cannot make money from YouTube anymore. And if that wasn't enough, almost every content creator with any form of relevancy has called his behavior out. On the same day his statement came out, Pokimane tweeted, "Yuck," and everyone knew what she was referring to. Tarek said, "Damn son, who the fuck even uses Twitch Whispers, LMAO?" Valkyrae, who was on YouTube at the time with Dr. Disrespect and was one of the only people who could match his size and influence on that platform, said, "Dr. Disgusting." Jacksepticeye said, "Fucking disgusting," quote tweeting Dr. Disrespect's statement. KSI, who was a huge Dr. Disrespect fan and had donated $1,000 to him on stream at some point, said, "This makes me so sad, man. One of my favorite inspirations talking to a minor inappropriately. You have a wife and kids, do better." And of course, we have Moist Critical aka Charlie saying, "Holy shit, that's actually shocking. Confirming messaging a minor inappropriately but saying there wasn't any real intent is almost verbatim what people used to say to Chris Hansen." And if you don't know who that is, Chris Hansen is someone who used to run a show called To Catch a Predator. This means that no one wants to associate with him anymore, and that if you didn't even know who he was or weren't even aware of the controversy, now you do. This has spread to almost every community online. And when things like this happen on the internet, of course, you also have a lot of memes. There were a lot here too. "Hi Doc, I made you a new logo. I hope you like it." This is someone who had taken a picture with Dr. Disrespect, right? The initial post was, "Doc told me not to post this because he's smiling, but oh well." And then he quote tweeted that same tweet and said, "He was smiling because I was a minor." Moist Esports, which is the esports org co-owned by Moist Critical, screen capped an old video of Dr. Disrespect playing Apex Legends, saying, "You're telling me, buddy," because the title was "Dr. Disrespect's Climb to Predator is a sight to behold." And speaking of Predator, this is a modified Alien vs. Predator poster, and as you guessed, the Predator is Dr. Disrespect. Listen, kid, I don't have much time. Dr. Disrespect was banned because the memes were the only thing that wasn't disappointing in this entire situation. That is a fact. But even with everything that had happened so far, things didn't really feel like they were truly over. We still have some very big questions here. Who are these other people, these pedophiles running free every day that use the Twitch Whisper function to take advantage of minors? Why did Twitch decide to take action only against Dr. Disrespect, who was one of their biggest streamers at the time? Was it because he wanted to, according to them, meet up with a minor at TwitchCon? Was him mentioning TwitchCon the reason why they got so scared and panicked? And the victim, by the way, let's not forget about the victim. Who were they, and are they ever gonna come out and tell us the whole story? I think that's important to remember too. All I do know is that it's looking very, and I mean very bad for Dr. Disrespect right now. But what happens now? Is Dr. Disrespect over as we know it? Well, not quite. He could end up streaming again after he's back from vacation, and that stream will have a lot of viewers. But I think then his viewers will start to slowly fade away, never able to reach the heights he used to be at. And that's if YouTube doesn't decide to suspend him, in which case his options will be very limited. Kick.com had tried to acquire Dr. Disrespect at some point, but then he stated on stream that they simply just couldn't afford him, so he turned them down. He wanted $50 million. Kick's head of strategic partnerships was asked if they were going to preemptively ban Dr. Disrespect from Kick because of all these recent developments. They said it's too soon. So hey, it's always a possibility. I mean, the kinds of people on that website are already kind of fucking crazy, and there have already been a few cases of people there that have done weird things with minors. There's also always the possibility of Rumble, but I don't think Dr. Disrespect, with his pride and ego, would let himself stream on a website like that because he knows he'll barely have like 1,000 viewers watching him there. He has practically ran out of options, and there's only so many things he can choose to do now. This really does seem like the end for Dr. Disrespect. This was the story of one of gaming's biggest icons, someone who had transcended it and became a well-renowned media personality with the potential to take over the world. Someone who decided to throw it all away over a very large ego and a power trip, where he put into question his role as a husband, as a father, and as a person. This goes to show that no matter how invincible No matter how untouchable someone might seem, one mistake is capable of taking down limitless potential. Something that could have been revolutionary. This was the story of Dr. Disrespect. If you watched till the end, you're insane, and I love you. Thank you so much for going through the whole video, and I hope you enjoyed it and learned at least one thing you didn't know before. I'll see you in the next video, which is probably not going to be a deep dive, but that doesn't mean I'll stop making them, and yeah, I love you so much. Mwah.